Hi modern fashion designers, welcome back to class. This is Modern Woman Apparel. So guys, in today's class we are going to be learning how I made this keyhole. I posted this picture on my Facebook page and most of my followers asked how I made the keyhole. So in today's class we are going to be using this particular one to learn how to go about the keyhole. So in this class we are only going to center on the keyhole part.
Meanwhile, if this is your first time here, you're highly welcome. Please kindly subscribe.
So guys, first thing first, we are working on the upper part of this, the keyhole part, which is the major reason for this tutorial. Now you need your front upper bodies. You can decide to use your basic bodies block if you're not making a bustier, if it's not going to be padded. But if it's going to be a bustier, then know that you are going to use a princess that bustier pattern. So as you can see, what I have here is a bustier pattern here, princess that bustier pattern, and I'm going to be using this to cut out my front part. So on this channel we already have a detailed tutorial on how you can draft a princess that bustier pattern, and you will find the link to the tutorial on the comment section. So this is the front and this is the back of these upper bodies. So before we go ahead to transfer this pattern to fabric, I want you to note that for this front part, you need seam allowance on every other part except for the neckline. So please do not add seam allowance to your neckline. Now you can see that I've gone ahead to cut out the seam allowance I have on the front neckline. Please, you do not need it. You only need seam allowance on the neckline of the back. You'll be finding out the reason for this as we proceed. So not only that, there's another thing we need to do to this center front, which is we are going to cut out a shorter part of this on fold. Now you can see that when drafting this, I didn't draft this on fold because by the time I'm transferring this to fabric, I'm going to put my fabric on fold. But for these two other shorter ones, please, you are going to be cutting them on fold. So you can see what I mean here. So just place your pattern on a fresh paper that you have already put on fold. Use it to cut out a shorter piece of this. Now the length of this is not necessary because all we need is just this neckline part. So from the neck depth here to about 5 inches is just perfect for this. So you can see this, I have two. Just make sure you have two of this, which is making this center front to be 3 pieces. I hope you understand. I'm going to keep this aside. I do not need it now. As we proceed, you're going to see where I'm going to be using these two other pieces. So right now I'm going to use these 3. So this is the original front we are making use of. So I'm going to take this now and transfer these patterns to fabric. Add all other allowances that I didn't add. Note, if you want to see a more detailed way of transferring this to fabric and with the padding and everything, we already have the tutorial on this channel. You can check all of our princess that sewing tutorials. You'll find a more detailed way of transferring this to fabric. Now remember, for this class all we are interested in is how to make the keyhole. So for this we are going to be concentrating more on the keyhole part. So I'll just transfer these patterns to fabric and I'll show you what next to do. So I've transferred my patterns to fabric here. This is the center front as you already know, and these are the two side fronts. Now all you need to do before making this keyhole is to add your interfacing. Since this is going to be a bustier, you add your interfacing, you add your breast pad. But if it's not going to be a bustier, let's say you're not going to be padding this, you're just making a normal basic bodies, all you need to do is to make sure you add interfacing to both the main fabric and the lining. So the same way I added interfacing to this main fabric, I'm also going to add interfacing to the lining of this fabric. I hope you understand. Now to make this keyhole, the first thing we have to do is to set these two aside. Note, there are different ways of making this keyhole, but this is just the easiest. This is just the best that works for me. So I'm not going to be adding these two now. What I'm going to do is to set them aside. So you set these two front aside. Now we are going to start working on this center front firstly. Now to do that, we're going to bring our lining for this center front. This is my lining here. As you can see, it also has an interfacing on it. So place the main fabric and the lining right side facing each other like this. So place it right side facing each other. Make sure it aligns properly.
So after that, we're going to set it aside. Then we are going to introduce one of the short papers that we cut out from the center front.
We'll keep one and we're going to start working with one. So for this, you can see what I did here. I came down from this neckline here to here by 3 inches. So 3 inches, and so this is 3 inches all round the neckline. Now what I'm going to do, note that this 3 inches is not constant. It depends on how long the length of the keyhole you want to make. If you want it smaller, you can reduce these 3 inches, and if you want it bigger, you can also increase these 3 inches. But note that your wadding or your breast pad is not supposed to get to where your keyhole is. So this wadding here is not getting to my 3 inches. I hope you understand.
So after this, the next thing is to use a paper to cut out the shape of the keyhole that you want, making sure that the length does not exceed the mark you have here. For me, I'm using 3 inches.
Next thing is for me to cut out the shape of my choice. So you can see I've used an extra paper to cut out this very shape, because this is the shape of the keyhole that I want. Now I'm going to, this is the center of fit here, and this is the center of this pattern here. So what I'm going to do is to place it center to center here, match up the center here, and trace this out. So I'll continue to trace out this. So having traced it out, I want to give a space of about 0.75 before placing the other one. So this is my 0.75. The space that you give depends on how far apart you want the keyholes to be. So I'll place it here and trace again. You can see that my shape is exactly 3 inches long. So whatever you came down here by, that is how long your shape will be. So I'm going to go ahead and trace this out on this part here, and I'll show you what we are going to do next.
So after I'm done tracing out the shape, this is what I have here.
Now what I'm going to do is to carry this and bring back my front panel here. So remember, right side facing each other with the lining pieces. After aligning it well with my lining fabric, what I'm going to do is to place this here. So you can see what I have here. I'm going to properly pin it down. So guys, after using my pin to secure it, what I'm going to do now is to take this to my sewing machine and use my stitch to trace all this. I'm going to run my stitch on this shape, on the whole of this shape here. I will do that and show you. So guys, after running your stitch on the shape, the next thing to do is to remove your pins and also remove this paper. And after removing the paper, I know you cannot see this because of the black color, so this is where my seam is. This is where I made the stitch, you can see. So what I'm going to do now is to start cutting 1/4 inch before my stitch line. So I'm going to start cutting 1/4 inch before my stitch line. So this is what I mean, 1/4 inch. So I'll just cut all the sides, and after cutting in on all of them, I will give it a tiny notch here. I'll give a tiny notch all round. So after you are done trimming and notching round it, the next thing you're going to do is to turn it to the right side. And after you are done turning it over to the right side, so this is the lining part and this is the main fabric, the next thing to do is to take it to your ironing table and give it a really good press. So make sure it relaxes very well. And once you are done with that, the next thing to do is to bring the other part of the front. So you bring the other part of the front and join. So this way you join, right side facing each other, and join this part. Also pick up this part here, right side facing each other, and join. So once you are done joining the main fabric, all you also need to do is to pick up your lining pieces. So you pick up the other side of your lining and join, right side facing each other this way, and also right side facing each other this way. So I'll do that and show you.
So guys, this is it. You know, we did the keyhole on the center front. Now go ahead and pick up the side front and join them together with the center front lining part, and also the side for the main fabric. Go ahead and join the side with the center front. After joining, just go ahead and give it a good press. And if you want to see a more detailed way of cutting and padding your Princess That bustier, all you need to do is to watch any of our Princess That tutorials, guys. They are so detailed. You find the link to the tutorials on the comment section. Remember, our major focus for this tutorial is just the keyhole part. Now on this keyhole part, in order to ensure neat finishing, to make sure this lining lays flat, what I do when ironing is to add my hemming gum. So you can see what I did here. Just open this place up, put your hemming gum, so you can see my hemming gum is already there, and use it to iron it. That way the neckline stays flat and neat. And after you are done with that, the next thing we are going to do is to join the lining and the main fabric by the side. So turn it this way. Make sure it lays right side facing each other. And you are going to join the sides. So join this side here and also join this side. So after we are done joining the sides, all you need to do is to turn it to the right side and give it a good press, so you can see how neat it is. Remember, we didn't join the armhole and the shoulder. So what you are going to do after you have turned it to the right side now is to use a top stitch to hold the armhole and the shoulder. And after we are done with that, the next thing we are going to do is to tidy the neckline, and we are going to be piping this. So what we are going to do now is to cut out our strip in bias form, and I'm going to show you how to go about the cutting. Now to cut on bias, all you need is to bring your main fabric and position it this way. Remember, we said we are cutting this on bias. So lay your fabric like this. So to cut on bias, lay your fabric straight, and instead of positioning it this way, as you can see, you go ahead and slant it like this, so that it can be in a triangular form. So this is how to cut on bias. Now you can see that you have a slanted edge here. So what I'm going to do now is to cut this slanted edge out. So after cutting it out, this is what I have. Now you can either use this shorter part here if it's up to what you want to use it for, if it's up to the length of the neckline. But because this shorter part will not be up to the length of my neckline, what I'm going to do is to use this longer part. Now to know the measurement you need, all you need to do is to bring in your pattern here. So remember this last one that we have here, we have already used the first one here, and this is the second short pattern of the front. What we are going to do now is to measure what you have here and add like 3 inches to it. And once you've gotten the measurement of your front neckline, all you need to do is to come to your fabric here on the slanted part, start measuring 2 inches. So the width of this is going to be 2 inches. Then the length will be the measurement of your neckline plus additional 3 inches. Once you're done marking, go ahead and cut it out like you see me do. After cutting out your bias, all you need is to take this to your ironing table and press in 1/2 inch on this part, 1/2 inch on this part, and then fold these two together like this and give it a really good press. So guys, you can see what I mean. All you need is to fold in 1/2 inch and press on this part. Also fold in 1/2 inch and press, then fold the two 1/2 inch together this way and press all through. So to pipe the neckline, all we need to do is to introduce our last piece. Remember, we have used one and we are left with this very one. So if you notice, you see that after the keyhole, the neck becomes wider than our initial neckline. So that is why we need this in order to bring back this neckline to its original size. So to do this, place your paper underneath the neckline and arrange the neckline of your main fabric to be exactly the size of the neckline of the paper. Now as you arrange, please pin it down. So guys, you can see the way I've arranged this part here. You can see that I pushed this one, the cup, in so that here can lay flat. This also means that you can decide to tidy up the neckline before joining the two side fronts to this center front. So at that point that you are doing this keyhole, you can also decide to tidy up the neckline. Know that you are done with everything pertaining with the neckline before joining the side fronts. I hope you understand. So having aligned this, you can see how it is. What I'm going to do now is to pipe this with it. So I'm going to pipe the neckline with it, so you can see how the strip is, and we folded here again. So what I'm going to do is, while this paper is still with it, please do not remove this paper. While this paper is still with it, I'm going to place it this way here, pin it down and stitch. So make sure you use your pin while doing this, so that you can be able to remove the first pins that you have used to hold the paper and the fabric. So while aligning this, while piping this, please make sure to always pin it down. Now what you do after pinning it down is to take it to your sewing machine, and of course you know what to do, just run your stitch. I'm going to do that and show you what next to do. So guys, you can see what I have here. I piped it together with the paper. So this is the outside and this is the inside. Now what I'm going to do is to remove my pins and also tear off the paper. And if you have excess here, just trim it. So remove the paper properly, and after you're done removing the paper, you iron the neckline very well. So you bring back this part. Now you can see why I said you shouldn't add seam allowance to the neckline. You can see that we didn't turn this with lining, we only piped this, so it doesn't need that ½ inch for turning. I hope you understand. After ironing the neckline, set this aside, then work on the back part. So what we are going to do now is to work on the back part. So see the back part here, just join the sides, the side and the neckline, leave the shoulder and the armhole. After joining it, you turn it over to the right side, give it a good press and sew your darts. So guys, after you are done with the back part here, you can see my dart for the both side. Now I'm going to show you how to join the shoulder. Remember, our major focus here is on the keyhole, but I'm going to show you how to attach the shoulders together. So to join the shoulder, first thing you have to do is to lay the front and back part right side facing each other like this. Note that if you are using this for a straight gown, you should have first of all joined the down part of this, which is the skirt part, to this upper part first before joining the shoulder. So once you are done joining the down part to this upper part, all you need is to lay it right side facing each other like this. You can see what I have here. This is right side facing each other, right? Now go ahead and flip the back part, the lining of the back, because you know we have already to stitch the shoulder of the front. So flip the lining of the back parts, as you can see me do. So just watch carefully what I'm doing. So flip it this way. So just flip it over, making sure that these two seam lines are meeting up here. So after flipping it over and arranging the shoulder properly, all you need to do is to use a pin to hold it down. So this is what we have. Now take it to your sewing machine and run a stitch on the shoulder only, just the shoulder. Now after you are done with this very part, the same thing you did to this side, now go ahead and also repeat it on this very side. Lay it right side facing each other, flip the lining of the back piece, so flip it over to the front, so you can see what I'm doing like this. Arrange it properly, make sure the shoulders are matching up, then you use your pin to hold it down, and also take it to your sewing machine and run a stitch on the shoulder.
So guys, after stitching, remove your pins and turn it over to the right side. So when you turn it over to the right side, you can see what I have here. And after that, you go ahead and use a top stitch to close up the armhole of the back part. So guys, I'm using flay for the damper, so I'm going to close the sides before attaching the flay on the damper. But if you are using this for a straight gown, all you need to is to attach the skirt part to this before joining the shoulder, and also join the side. Don't forget to also close the center and attach your zipper, and also attach your desired sleeve. Like I said earlier, our major focus for this tutorial is the keyhole. So I'm going to go ahead and complete this gown off camera and show you what we have. So guys, this is what we have. Thank you so much for watching. Please kindly follow us on our Facebook page at Modern Woman Sewing Tutorials. And if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please take a second to hit on the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. I'll see you in my next tutorial. I'm Modern Woman. Bye for now.